Okay, now that we've talked about um, my husband coming into my life and being a gift after experiencing so many heartbreaks, let's touch on the one piece of my life that brings me so much joy that I'm forever grateful for, and that is motherhood. Nothing in my life has rearranged me in a way that becoming a mother did. Not grief, not healing, not even marriage. Motherhood reached into the deepest parts of me and brought out parts that I was not even aware existed. It exposed potentials and a new depth of love that I didn't even know I had inside of me. Motherhood also exposed parts of me that I thought I had dealt with and said, not yet, we're not done yet. We still got some work to do. And being a girl mom specifically, that is its own kind of holy, terrifying, beautiful work. That's how I like to describe it. Because every time I look at my girls, I see who I once was, and I'm so determined to give them what I didn't have. I became a mother still carrying the full weight of my story and my wounds. Keep in mind that I had my first daughter, Shiloh, at 29. The father wounds were still there. The child wounds were still there. Self-worth battles were still there. The unlearned patterns of how to deal with conflict was still there. All that baggage was still there. And then I had a daughter. And this was my saving grace because it expedited my process for me. Suddenly, everything that I'd been doing slow, my private work of healing or telling myself it could wait, now became urgent. It became visible. It became personal. And eventually, when I became a mom the second time around at the age of 34, my sense of urgency did not stop. If anything, it just ramped up higher. And I am determined to make sure that my kids know a few things. One, they will never have to wonder if they are worth staying for. Two, they will grow up knowing how to say no and mean it with no apologies. And most importantly, they will know who God says they are before the world gets to tell them otherwise. Raising daughters when you're still healing yourselves is one of the most humbling and clarifying experiences of my life. My girls are not raising me, but they're definitely showing me daily what the healed version of the little girl I was supposed to be looks like. And I truly consider that to be one of God's greatest gifts. When it comes to my girls, they're my driving force. On days when I'm tired, on days when I just don't feel motivated, all I have to do is just hear one of them say mom, and I just find the strength from within to keep going. I cannot imagine coming to the end of my life and not fully placing them in the position where they can fully become the fullness of who God has called them to be. That is a big driving force as to why I do everything that I do, for the most part. While motherhood is not a totality of my purpose, it is definitely a very intricate and a very important part of it. I really believe that the Lord even used making me a mom to wake me up out of my slumber and to also ignite a fire that I thought had died a long time ago. When I decided to start Invisible Me, which is now evolved into the Centered Woman in 2016, what a lot of folks don't know is I found myself sitting at home with Shiloh, transitioning between jobs at that time. So I was home with her and I'm holding her and she's just one. And I said to myself, when it's all said and done, what legacy are you creating for this girl? What legacy are you creating for your daughter? What can she really see you doing right now that she can be proud of? And I had nothing to show in that moment. And the only thing I could say to myself is, what is that one thing God has been telling you to do for a long time that you've not done? That's a starting point. And that was what gave me the courage to pick up the camera for the first time and get behind the camera, or get in front of the camera rather. It was my daughter that God used to wake me up. What I've come to realize is that motherhood, however way it comes to you, whether biologically or otherwise, it has a way of surfacing every unhealed sin that you thought you already handled. It has a way of bringing out a different part of you that you never even knew existed before. And I don't want you to see that as a crisis. That is an invitation. Your child does not need a perfect mother. She needs a present one. She needs a healing one. She needs a whole one. She needs a woman and a mother that is willing to do the work so that she does not inherit the wound, but the wisdom. Lastly, I want you to know this. You're not just raising a daughter. You're not just raising a son. You are raising a generation. And what you model, he or she will carry. Please make it worth carrying. My fellow girl moms, I see you. Or even if you're not a girl mom, of course, I see you too, mom. Drop me a heart below. Tell me one thing that you're determined to give your child that you never had. And also share this with another mother who is currently raising the next generation while still going through her healing process. She needs to know that she's doing the most important work that there is. Okay, now that we're done talking about my two precious babies and the lessons that God has used them to teach me about life, I want to segue to talk about what most folks often label as church hurt. I don't like that term, quite frankly, but I don't have another word to describe it just yet. Maybe I'll just say painful experiences from being in the body and what I have learned and how I've grown from it. Maybe that's a good way to title it. Yeah, let's talk about it. Let's start off by laying this foundation. Church hurt is a real thing. And it typically comes in the name of God from people who are supposed to represent Him. I have been wounded in church, and I have also stayed. I have not left the body. This is not a conversation about church bashing. This is simply an honest and necessary conversation on what to do when you do get hurt by the people of God, and how to keep your faith from being held hostage by someone else's failure. One of the most important things I will say that has been a blessing for me in my faith journey is that I came to Christ directly. I didn't come to the Lord based on somebody else's testimony or somebody preaching to me. I encountered Him for myself. I had a tangible experience that has carried over into my walk with Him, because if I did not have that, based on what I've experienced in church, I probably would not still be a part of the body right now. I probably would have gone back to being a Muslim. But then again, this just speaks to the faithfulness of God, being that He chose to reveal Himself to me directly, that my faith would not be shaken by the actions of man. I'm forever grateful for that. As we go further, I want to say this. I'm not here to name any church or any person, because this is not about them. Quite frankly, looking back at the different things I did see in the body, or the church hurt, if you want to call it, that I experienced, a lot of them were not even done directly to me. Some were done directly to me in the early stages, but a lot of them were things that I witnessed done to others, or how things were done behind the scenes that grieved my spirit, that made me say, this is not God. That revealed Himself to me in 2004 and also in 2007. This is not the Jesus that I've come to know. Something is not, adding up here. So again, this is not about anybody, but I will say that there were moments when the community was supposed to be my safest place, or safest place for other people, and they made me feel judged. They made me feel invisible. They made me feel used. And the crazy thing about church hurt is that it doesn't just wound you, it can also disorient you if you're not grounded. If care is not taken, it will literally make you start questioning not just the institution, but also the God that the institution claims to represent. And that's the danger of this particular topic that we're talking about. I experienced so many things through the years of me being in the church or in several church institutions. And I remember there was a time when I actually took a big break from going to church, where I did not go to church for almost 7 years, not by design. It was literally a morning where I woke up to go to church, because I was in the choir at that time, and I was going to leave the house a little earlier than my family does. And I remember the Holy Spirit asking me very clearly when I got out of bed that morning to start getting ready, why are you going to church today? And my response was, well, I'm going now because I have to get there early for sound check before the service. And the Lord said to me, if that's the best reason you can come up with, I need you to lay down and go back to sleep. And that was the last day I ever went back to that church, and also any church, for 7 years. And I'll be honest with you, I did not know that was going to be the journey. But I will tell you this, those 7 years of not going to church became a season where God literally refined me, even in my private place with Him. It became a season that forced me to lean into Him. And that's why I always tell people all the time that while the church body is there, and it's a good thing because it's a God thing, God did create fellowship. He does want us to fellowship with one another. Fellowship and community within the church body should never take the place of us having that concrete, intimate relationship with the Father. Matter of fact, our individual intimate relationship is what's going to spill into that communal relationship within the body. The lack of not having that individually can actually be detrimental to the community itself. And looking back now at the things that I saw that grieved my spirit within the different churches that I had the opportunity to serve at, I would say that that's probably what it was. It wasn't like these folks were bad people. They weren't horrible people. But I truly believe that their walk with the Lord suffered because of their work for the Lord. Their intimacy with the Lord suffered because of the activities and the ceremonies and the traditions that they were, obligated to fulfill within the church. What really helped me while experiencing all of this was I made the conscious choice to do the difficult and deliberate work of separating the character of God from the character of the people that I saw perpetrating certain acts. For folks that may have been born and raised in the church, they may not have found the ability to do this because being raised in the church, you become acclimated to the way things are done. An advantage that I had was I was an outlier that came into the fold and also came in directly from the Father. So it was easy for me to always lean back into him as my source first and to know how to separate the frailties of man from the holiness of who he was. And that saved my faith. It really did. Because if I had walked away from God because of what his people did, I would have literally walked away from the one relationship that was holding everything else in my life together. The one thing I want us to hone in on in this conversation is this. Jesus nowhere in scripture ever promised that his followers would be perfect people. He simply declared himself as perfect. Church hurt is a real thing. You are allowed to take a moment to step aside, to heal from it, to grieve it. But I just want to plead with you to not let imperfect people have the final say on your walk with a perfect God. Your faith does not have to be held hostage by someone else's failure. You can be wounded by the church, but still be held by Christ. And for the woman that has walked away, I just want you to know God is still in pursuit of you. All you have to do is lean in and draw near to him, that you may experience him from a place of a personal, intimate relationship that no man and no action from any frail human being can ever take away from you. If you have ever experienced church hurt and you have found your way through, I want to hear from you. I want to hear how you did it. Do share below. Your story or your testimony might just be a lifeline for somebody else that is on the edge of walking away from the faith entirely. And if you're that person that is on the edge of walking away, also share a comment below. I want you to know that God has not abandoned you and he has plans for you. Do not leave him. And this brings us to the end of week 2. I really hope that this series is doing a thing and doing a work in you and drawing you closer to the Father. That is waking up something in you. I really hope that the lessons that I'm sharing with you are not just resonating, but you are taking notes and you're going to be applying them to your life. And ultimately, this is birthing something in you that can create a ripple effect that you can even pour into others too as you forge ahead with life. I want you to understand that the source behind 30 to 40 is not to just come here and just air my dirty laundry or just talk about my life just for the sake of talking about it. It is to shed myself of any reputation that I may be holding on to, that you may see the work that God has done in this vessel and also tap into that hope that he can do the same in your life too. So with that said, I want to thank you once again for joining me for week 2 on 30 to 40. I look forward to sharing with you next week. In the meantime, if you're not following me, do hit the subscribe button right now. And of course, hit the notification bell so you can be notified when I do post another video. And do share this with somebody else that you know would benefit from being a part of the Centered Women community. I look forward to sharing with you in the near future. Until next time, remain anchored.